on Mittags. It's Shirley with Spirit of Matter. And this is the chart of when I'm beginning this episode. It's still Mercury hour, I believe. Um, yeah, let's take a look at this chart. Um, Inviting Eris to do a bit of a lot of thinking about fluid and this is the transit chart to my chart. I want to display asteroids so you can see the magnificence of the moment. And let's take a picture. Right now, the ascendant here in Leo, in my 6th house. Um, there's conjunction between Makmak and Sap. I don't know what is that. Moon conjunct in Lilith and hard aspect in Venus here. Oh, hard aspect in the. Wait. Oh, my natal Venus. The moon is also currently separating from to Eris. Oh, this is getting very difficult. Eris applying to conjunct my Mercury. And she sextiles transit in Uranus. So, sextile in Uranus, not my natal Eris, but Eris in the sky sextiling Uranus. That is with a descendant right now. And she is squaring Pluto, of course. Let's see if we are. Let's do the current planets. So we get. Yeah. Astro clocks. Okay, current planets. And we get Mercury hour still with Mercury sextiling Neptune, fluid, ocean, waves of the sea, and trining Uranus. Waves, as in the waves and frequencies of the nervous system, electric currents, and so on and so forth. And I want to talk about topics that I haven't studied, and that is fluid dynamics and aerodynamics. I'm just going to begin by observation. And this is the Dead Sea. And what the first thing that comes in mind, also a bit of a disclaimer, since I haven't studied the topic, I cannot quote the ideas of people who contributed to the discourse. If you spot me saying an idea that somebody already thought about, please write in the comments below so I can learn and educate myself, okay? And I can sift and sort which is something that I came up with. It's a thought experiment to see what comes up. Okay, and this is part 1. I will do a consecutive part where I will do a paint about astrology, okay, with Eris. So, immediately, as I see the water, as I observe the water, air comes in. Okay, I'm not gonna try and show the video again because it seemed to stop the recording, so oh well. Air comes in, and when there is no wind, if I look at the sea like this, like the Dead Sea, this is in the picture, when there is no wind, it looks like a mirror, right? Stillness. When there is wind, it looks like the type of painting, you know, the technique for oil, where you take a scalpel and then you just scrape the canvas with the oil, and you have these, you have these smears that look like you're painting a wall. And this is a painting technique. Um, so wind comes in and it looks like it has wrinkles. Okay, the ocean just looks like the sea just looks like it has wrinkles. Um, and as we get closer and closer to the shore, those wrinkles turn into tiny waves. So it seems like it pinches the water, but as we get closer, if there is distance between the water level and the earth, i.e. more depth, there's pinching. I don't know what this pinching is. But as we go closer to the shore, it's it seems like a frowning person. Like when you frown and you have the waves in the forehead, then it seems like the shore is frowning. Um, Now, this is the Dead Sea. I will go and travel to rivers and to seas and see other and observe the sea so I can have better views on how does the like how is this shore different to, let's say, waves in the sea where you don't have salt, that much salt, because this is the Dead Sea, you have salt. um And so it seems like the level, the pinching here, the more depth you have, there is pinching. But if you pay attention, it looks like, at least from this point of view, um, the pinching, and I don't address the colors just yet, but the pinching is quite universal across maybe just this. Let's see if we can get a better picture. Let's look at this one. I don't know if there is a difference in the pinching structure in here. There seems to be, but it's not close enough. But there is also here, it seems like the pinching becomes closer to the shore and only then relaxes into more tender texture, curvy texture. Um, I want to look at that one. Same. Okay. And from here, if I look at it from this angle, it actually looks like pinching again, right? Can you see very close to the shore? It looks like it's pinching and not so curvy. Here's a bit curvy. Now, what I'm wondering about is the place where the air meets the water. Is it that the wave structure, and try to bear with me, okay, because the wind has a wave structure, right? And how does the wave structure go? It goes like this, right? Depending on the type of wave, okay, but like this. And as that wave or wave structure meets the still waters, then you're gonna have like, let me try to paint this. I don't know if I can have something that you can paint with here. Num, 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 num. Tools. Do I have like a painter? Calculator, skull. Um, okay, let's see.
Here's what I found on the web.
That's okay. Let me just paint this picture. Okay, I'll just paint on this picture. Um, Doodle. Great. So, color that you can all see. Let's do green. And I'll just take, whoopsie. Let's say the waves, doodle, green. Okay, the waves meet the surface of the sea. Okay, and then you have waves. And so there are plenty waves. But this is not, this is still very linear because it's not the structure of the air. You have like stormies stuff and you have a combination of, let's take this one. Let's see, have waves here, and then you have wind coming from here, but also because this, for example, the Dead Sea is low and there are mountains, so there's also wind coming from here. And so in order to understand the fluid dynamics, I need to understand there's the fluid dynamics within the ocean, and then there's the fluid dynamics above the surface, okay? Where the water meets the air. And I think I created a beautiful work of art that no 3-year-old can ever compete with. So let's just, okay. So the place where the water meets the air, okay. The moon is a reflector, and we see moon is water. Moon is also ruling water in astrology, right? And the sea, if the sea is a mirror, okay, the sea, the surface of the sea is nothing but the reflection of the state of the air. Okay? So, let's write it. Adjust the texture. Let's do funny. Okay. Let's write something here. Bless me. Yeah, what? Oh. Thank you. Can I write something? It doesn't let me write. Let me write, please. Okay, text. Okay. Text. Thank you. Oh, now it will let me write. So let's do some. I like this color. The surface of the water is but a reflection of the state of the air. That is way better. Let's see if it does it here. I'm going to. No, I actually wanted to do it like that. Is making more sense, but I will need to change the font to something darker, I believe. So let's no. Maybe. No. I don't like that it takes the reflection, and so let's take the reflection. And yeah, that's way better, but I'll just do it like that. Let's see if it works. No. When you try to find the right color and you're painting, but you do not know color combination because you're self-studying and you like to learn from experience and make all the mistakes yourself. How about this? It would be surprising if this works, but I'll just leave it at that. Maybe I can have a style that would give me bold and that would give me outline is better, I think. So it's clear, even though it's not the best color combination, you can at least read that. And I think you can read it from here better. So I got what I wanted. Great. So that's a saving. B. Um, the surface of the water is but a reflection of the state of the air. Okay? And so, because the wind is wavy, then it has frequency. And it's the analogy I have in mind is, of course, light. Okay? And here, from a philosophical point of view, I don't think it is like we see an illusion of a wave. Okay? I do believe we see a genuine wave. That notion might change as I proceed, so I don't know. I cannot predict that. And different phases of wind have different frequency, and those different frequencies in themselves, let's say we just had like linear structure of simple structure of the wind, and so the pressure on the water changes as the energy permeates it. Okay, because now we have when we want to talk about the water pressure, that gives us that pinching where the water feels more comfortable to go to be on the upper surface, okay, of the pinch. And now that necessitates another picture. I'm afraid to show you now a video, so it wouldn't stop the recording. This is so annoying. But let's see. Oopsie. Let's see this one, okay, and well, you can see that the parts, let's do a little bit of doodles. Doodle, 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 doodle. Yeah. Okay. Doodle, thank you. Whatever. If I go like this, then the water in those parts, okay, if I have water like this, then the water in those parts, okay, are probably pressured from, like, let's say the wave hits like this, the wave of the wind, and then it presses down here, but here the wave hits like this, and then this curve of the water is more free to be in the air, because the different wave, like the wave, it's like the wave structure creates frequencies in pressure, okay, frequencies in pressure on the water, okay, and those different frequencies in pressure have certain intervals, which we can see as the illusion of waves in the sea. Why am I saying the illusion? I'm just talking about this. I'm not going to, like, the structure of like a wave that goes like, you know, that crashes into the shore, is something that I will need to refer to. I know when I was a little girl, then we were taken to the sea and we were told that the water do not go sideways, but they just go up and down with the wind. Okay, and that is something that I still need to conceptualize, and I don't know if it's relevant or if it's updated. So let me observe this again. Um, I do need to draw some stuff. Thank you. No, not erase. Doodle. Okay. So we said there is the surface of the sea, and then the waves of the wind hit, but they're not hitting. There's intervals, and I think this is one view, but there's another way to view it. It's another perspective. If I think about the wind, I will try to think about the sense of the wind. Because when I think about the wind coming to me, um, the wind, try to think about the wind in your face, okay? It seems to have like a pressure, like air pressure. This is funny, because it feels to me that the air pressure feels consistent. No, it's not consistent. No, it's not consistent. You feel strong pressure, low pressure, strong pressure, low pressure. That's the waves of the wind. And on an emotional level, you can feel supported by the wind, and you also can feel permeated by the wind. Okay, if you have good clothing, then you can feel like the wind supports you because it's a force. Okay, if you lean into the wind, it supports you. If you go against the wind, then it has its force. Okay, but you can also feel like the wind is permeating, and so the ability of us to experience wind in various ways as people relative to the opacity level and the angle that we go with the wind. Now the sea is still, in essence, okay? The water is still until the wind comes. Unless, of course, we're talking about the geyser, we're talking about structures uh, within, or like an earthquake. And one of the, when you talk about tsunami waves, then the tsunami wave, you get the deep withdrawal, and then the returning wave is so much louder, right, than the withdrawal. And you can see that I'm speaking already imageries that relate to anything wavy. Okay, the waves of voice, the waves of light, the frequencies of light. And the waves of the sea are nothing but air elements working its way through matter, okay, through the sea, through the fluid. Even when we talk about fluid dynamics, so when you talk about gravity, oh, thank you, gravity. Okay, usually we say water decline, let's say from the mountains to the ocean, right, through the rivers and to lakes or whatnot. But its decline is going from, from up, top down, right? From up to down. Snow melts in the mountains, and then, but then there is rain, okay, which is another interesting facet. The drops of something, and rain is fascinating, and the connection between the raindrops and the face of the sea or the ocean or the lake is another fascinating phenomena. Another thing I have to say on that. Let's see if I have another thing to say on that. And as I'm speaking, I feel my own energy coming in waves. Like I say something, and the waves reminds me a bit of Eris, because Eris is a cardinal sign. It ignites something, then it dies off. It ignites something, then it dies off. And you think about the reignition, reignition, reignition is something wavy. If you continuously do Eris, it's like the start of an engine is like poof, and then it'll sound like that. And um, it's like I express a certain idea, and then I need to, and then another idea comes, and um, so probably this is brain waves, energy waves. Um, was noch? The volatility of waters. And notice in terms of the quality of water, which you can't ignore. Um, Water expands upon freezing, and usually things contract upon freezing. Okay, water expands. I was just given this beautiful, beautiful looking food that I won't eat because I don't want to make the noise of eating in your ears. And now I'm just looking at this, having to put it aside. But this is the best looking dessert ever. So yeah. Anyway, very grateful. So, like I said, success is not the work of a solitary person. If nobody would feed me here, then I would have to make my own food, and I could make less videos. So, uh, deeper in. Okay, so water expands upon freezing, which is an anomaly in matter, in the behavior of matter. And this is something that I know from Feynman, that water expands upon freezing. Um, and so the quality of water in itself before it touches the air has a very interesting behavior, because what is temperature, which is also related to the air quality, right? The air quality is not just the waves and frequency of pressure, and this is also a result of temperature. We can't ignore temperature, right? What is temperature? Temperature is a wave. Okay, and on a matter of perspective, temperature is when, you know, the atoms, this is, you know, the way Feynman spoke about this, the atoms start to collide faster and faster, and then there is increasing heat. Okay, and from a traditional Chinese medicine, you have a yin and a yang, and so heat is yang, and coolness is yin. And so something moving fast is yang, and then, but after a certain time, then matter densifies. Usually, matter densifies, um, and then it crosses a threshold, and then it liquidifies. Okay, it becomes liquid, and then it becomes yin. And usually the liquid is upon heating. Okay, if you have dense matter, okay, let's say we have, and then after we go from liquid, then we go to gas. So it's and again upon heating. Okay, water does that upon cooling. So it's the upside down. So in a way, when I think about water, it is not only a reflection of the air. So we think of water ruled by the moon. I know Scorpio is ruled by Mars, Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, Neptune, yeah, Scorpio, then also Pluto. But the moon, okay, is the reflector. It's the closest to the earth and also affects the tides of the water the most. Um, but the quality, the fascinating or spiritual quality of water is they go outside, they have fuzzy logic, okay? They don't become gas upon heating. they become gas upon cooling. They become dense upon cooling, and not about heat, upon heating. It's very weird. Um, why does it do that? Like how? Well, why is a very unscientific question to ask, because the answer would be a process. Okay, how does it do that? Um, so water is HO2. No, this is oxygen. No, the oxygen's O2, H2O, H2O. Sorry, H2O. Um, and I think that what I learned was that the H, something with the one of the hydrogens, um, behaves in a certain way that creates this phenomena of the water. So I don't know why or how it happens chemically. Um, from, like you say, spiritual or chemical point of view, um, water has a unique quality. Their logic of their behavior, think about spirit of matter, okay? The behavior of water is upside down. And when I think about the face or the structure of the water, you know, the structure of the water relative to the structure of the earth is just gravity, okay? If I roll a ball from the mountain, it's likely to reach the valley. If I drop a bucket of water from the mountain, it's likely to reach, unless it dries on the way, the lake or the valley or the ocean or the sea. Um, so if I, but so water in relation to earth is not unusual. What happens to earth is actually, if we go, and this is interesting, I don't know if I can show you this, but you know that when you walk on the water, not showing. So here it's a bit difficult to see because of the salt. Maybe this one. No, you can't see it from here. Let me see if I can have a clearer shot. Now this is the salt. So the salt makes it difficult because it has a crystalline structure that it's its own. Um, if you think about the sand, okay, the sand of the sea, then the sand, if you go on shore and nobody walked for a while on the shore, you will see that the sand, it depends on where you are, okay? Sometimes the sand will have a wavy structure. So it looks like, you implant the water in the sand and it just reflects the flat land underneath the water reflects the pressures upon it by the water. But then in some places you go and the water washes the land and it doesn't look so wavy, so you see the land is more flat. And that's the difference, I think, between going to the sea and going to the lake. Okay, in the lake, like the Dead Sea, you have this wavy structure. When they remove the salt, in the shores where they remove the salt, and I'll try to be in the Dead Sea again to show you, in the places where they remove the salt, the shore, okay, the sand itself underneath the water is wavy. But when you go to the sea, the salt underneath the water, it depends, okay? Where in the places where the waves meet the sand is actually flat. If you set your foot on it, it's going to be immediately washed. As you take your foot out, you're going to have this big foot, prints. But then a couple of waves and you don't see them. Why? Because the pressure of the water is able to flatify, okay, the seashore, the yeah, the shore, the place where the shore meets the sea. In a lake, it's less pressure. You don't have that many waves, and so it is more wavy. As you get into the water, or as you get into the sea, then of course it depends. If you have more rocky area, uh, then it's different. But if you have sand, then the minute you get to the sand, um, I'm trying to try to think about the bottom of the sea or the bottom of the ocean. Then it's yeah, that's already dependent on also other factors, just the inner pressure of the earth. Okay, the pressures within the core of the earth. And then there are layers that are made of different materia, okay, that affects the pressure. So the type of materia affects the pressure, um, or the diversity of the pressures of the water and of the pressures of the structure of the land beneath. Um, in the earth, basically. And the air is pressing the water. Reflecting the earth. The water is actually an agent of change of the earth. Okay, when I think about um, the earth takes the shape of the water, the sand takes the shape of the water dynamics. And then the water takes the shape of the air. The air or the wind have the ability to be a force that counteracts gravity. Okay? If you think about a pump, then the air pressure brings the water upwards. The diversity of air pressures brings the water upwards instead of down. So the contraction and expansion of air has the power to turn gravity upside down. Okay, that is another thing that um, deserves its mentioning. So, yeah, whatever. The um, mm, 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 mm. Diversity in air pressure has power to turn gravity. And this is also true to matter. You know, think about storms, okay, houses flying, cars flying, and so on and so forth. Um, Upside down. And of course, it doesn't turn gravity upside down. It's just, you know, not nullifies, but it is able to push something upwards or to vacuum something upwards, um, rather than just downwards. So, when we talk about the water surface or the water as reflecting the state of the air, um, the power of the air is also to turn gravity upside down. And so the flippery floppy aspect of water, okay, the unreliable aspect of water. Why do I say unreliable? Because when you have gravity, you have a bit of a determinism, right? Gravity is very deterministic in most cases. You drop something from a high place to a low place, it's going to come down. Um, but as water is also a reflection of the state of the air, um, you can't rely on water to do what it does when air is acting on it. And so, right from this notion, even without the idea of a pump, we understand that that if we take a look at the surface of the water, we can see we can have a window to the soul of the air, and that already brings an intricate picture that is unpredictable. Okay, the way air dynamics, they can be like the pressure of the air can alternate quite quickly, and people who learn how to fly, okay, haven't learned how to fly, but people who learn how to fly learn how to deal with like air pockets or with sudden place or with places where the air pressure suddenly changes, and this happens during storms and so on and so forth. So this is also reflected in the water, and we know when we go to swim that some if you don't have a lifeguard, you do not go to swim, because you can drown just by going a couple of inches into the sea, and then suddenly it gets very deep, and then there are water swirls where it gets deep because it reflects the land. Okay, and those water swirls are much like the air swirls. And if you think about why swirls are happening, it's changes in density. What is between the densities? That's air, that's gas. Okay, how much air, how much nothingness is between each molecule, and so on and so forth, in another and the others. Um, so think about compression and intervals between the peaks of pressure. And then there is this notion that waves are water moving up and down rather than to the sides. That being said, they do crash onto the shore, and there is a segment where water is moving to the side, like water is moving towards us. Or if you think about the wave, if I do this, and we have a wave, and again I'm starting to talk about waves, and I start to like, I'm tired. I'll try to go with these waves. And it's the black. Let's say, water, wave, 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 and then the shore is this, it meets the land, right? Let's say like that. And so this is the best it can go up and down. But then the tides, the water do go here and here. Here, this is not an illusion, right? And this movement is affected by the moon. and to a lesser degree the outer planet. Oh, that. Okay, I want to understand. Like that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Okay, that's why I did this video. Okay, let's go to another picture. While we're going to another picture, what affect the tides of the water? And perhaps, maybe just maybe, the air pressure. That's the planets. And, okay, if that is the, thank you. And if, and why did I went like, oh, because the pressures that the various planets have over the Earth at any given time, that's cosmology, that's astrology, expresses itself in waves and frequencies. Okay? So for the moon, we know the tides of the sea alter with the distance of the moon from the Earth. What makes us think that our air does not operate in much similar fashion, let alone the earth, the land, right? And again, I'm tired. I have tea. This is where it gets astrology. So let's try to paint. Doodle, a person's best friend. Um, okay, so let's say this is the sun. This is the sun. And surrounding it there are many planets. Moon, Mercury, think Venus, between them. No, I'm confusing with the color order. Mercury, Venus. No, I don't know. Moon, Earth, or whatnot. I would need to revise because I'm confusing the Chaldean order. You study in astrology, and trying to be solar centered. So this is Sol. And let's say we are in Earth. So this is the moon. And this would be Mercury. And I think Venus. Okay? The moon, from our point of view, is circling the Earth. Okay? Us and the moon are circling the sun. And this is very difficult. I would need a 3D image maker of this. And I'm afraid, but I'll try it because I think this one is actually important. 3D galaxy from the Earth. And okay, let's look at the current planets again. Have a checkup. Now it is the moon hour, 11 minutes ago, and this is lovely. And why am I taking this picture is because when I started to talk about the moon, I started to talk about gravity and the planets and how they affect the waves and frequencies of the Earth, which may be another gateway to how astrology works, right? Gravity is also a wave. Light is also a wave, a particle in a wave. Um, so bodies, the bodies of the sky, they have gravitational waves that alter the wind, in return the waters. Okay, this is another hypothesis. So let's go here. But let's do this one with this one. Why is it Saturn day, but it's not showing what I needed to show? Maybe this one, and okay. What is that? What did I do? What did I do? Lines? I don't know. No, objects? I don't know. X. No, not erase. Doodle. No, text. And there I said, center text. Yeah, it's too black. Okay. The bodies of the galaxy, okay, the planets, have gravitational waves. And here, please let me know which scientists made contribution to this, because probably I am repeating certain ideas that were already conceived. So let me know in the comments below names of people that I can educate myself. The bodies of the galaxies have gravitational waves that, okay, this is confusing, this image is confusing, that interact and alter the waves and frequencies of the air. Okay, there's also heat, temperature, pressure, pressure diversity, heat, temperature, pressure diversity that alters the the phase of the waters, that alters the face of the land and landscape. Okay, when I mean land, it's the sand. Of course, you know, cars flying in the wind and so on, and or being washed into the sea. That's that. So one way, or like one way that the gravitational, okay, that things interact with things is my hypothesis is through gravitational waves. Okay. And gravitational waves can be, as any wave can be expressed as alternations in temperature and pressure. Okay, so I'm gonna write it down. Gonna write it down again. Here is the text. So this one, let's do another chart for this conception. Oopsie daisy. So this is Beersheba, Israel, for the people who are interested in knowing the location of where these thoughts are conceived or reiterated. Okay. And let's look at what we have here. Oh, the ascendant is already in Virgo, so I'm beginning to waves and frequencies. Okay, waves. Okay, this is very important. As the ascendant was in Leo, the imagery that I had was the waves of light. And then somewhere along the line, and with your permission, I'll take a look at, this was already, as I began to delve into gravity waves, I was already in the realm of Virgo, which is very interesting. Okay, we can trace our thoughts. So at first I talk about waves with the imagery of wave of light, and then the ascendant just moves from Leo to Virgo, and I start talking about waves and frequencies. And Virgo, tropically, is a lot about waves and frequencies. And notice that I started doing that without looking at the chart. Okay? So it's not like I seen the chart. Oh, Virgo reminds me of, but I just started doing that, talking about waves as frequencies and gravitational waves. Of course, the moon is opposition Pluto, so Pluto is gravity, but um, gravitational waves are to do with matter, and so we turn to waves of light, and light is a particle wave, to the wave, another form of wave that is of the pressure, that the pressure or the lack of pressure between a flat surface and a body on it or above it. Okay, that's gravity. And since gravity, this is what my second saying. And now let's do the chart for this one, because I missed the chart for that one. It's too much time passed. So I was explaining this. So 4 degrees Virgo. Trying to be accurate here. Let's go back here. And immediately doodle doodle. And we can go and write what I wanted to write. Let's see what the phrasing will come up now. And that is not that, the text. So text, 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 text. Thank you. Oh, yeah, let's do it in black as well. So, gravity can be expressed by the intervals of pressure, then of pressure densities, pressure alternation, the pressure alternation in the air surrounding an object relative to the pressure alternation within of the air, okay, of the air within the object. Okay, so again, I could be totally wrong here, and it's very okay to express your opinion as long as you're civil. This is a thought experiment. So gravity can be expressed by the intervals of pressure alternation in the air surrounding an object relative to the pressure alternation of the air within the object. Now think about the plane flying, okay? So you turn on the engines and then you have to cut through the air, so you have to increase the pressure. So you have to decrease the pressure within the plane. And then the engines serve as agents of, like, think about farting, right? And you think I have the humorous picture Again, we are in Mercury ruled season, so I have the humorous picture of a person farting and then flying to the sky. That's what a plane does. Okay, it kind of farts. Um, that's what the engine does. The engines roll, plane starts farting, and then there is a change in the air pressure underneath becomes stronger, get more densified than the air pressure above, and then the plane lifts off. That is done by farting, by sending air pressure that kind of like pushes a boundary between the below and the above that is artificial. Okay, so it's creating artificial alternations in the air pressure. Um, A bird does that by flapping its wings. I don't think birds fart as they lift off, unlike planes, which is something very interesting. Planes do need the extra fart, while birds can just flap their wings and alternate the flapping of the wing, which is very wavy, right? I think about the hands of a belly dancer. They also flap their hands like when you learn belly dancing, and the way that you flap your hands is like it's like a bird, and then there is the snaky movement, but there is also where you go from the elbows up, and you turn your shoulders uh, away from the chest, like backwards, and then the movement, and then you go the movement is starting at the elbows, and you think about the wings. It's like you flap they don't have elbows, like from the middle of the wing, and then it goes up from the middle of the wing, flap down, and they change, they alternate, and I'm getting fit as I'm trying to explain this. I'm not showing myself, but it's very funny. And those flaps turn the air downwards, like they push the air, and so they flap themselves up, flap up, and then when they want to go down, or they just go, and they, depending on the wind, they can change because the wind can help them, right? Or they need to, they alternate the flapping, and then they can just go like, like children say, oh, I'm an airplane, and then you just hold your wings straight. You just this is getting weirder by the day. I promise you, I did not drink anything but tea. Um, and you just hold your wings straight, and then you begin to land, or stay in the air. That depends on. And then they have the tail. The tail is like the tail of the plane, and they can flap it. They can adjust it. They can play along with it, and the tail moves too, which is kind of cool when you think about it. Um, and so they navigate through the air. Birds navigate through the air in that way, and so do planes. That's why I said that the gravity is a wave, or is a wave, because the air pressure is wavy. Okay, wind is a wave, the sea is a wave, the flap of the wings. Okay, so you create waves. Um, and if you're an airplane, then you're farting too, which is again, well, it's not a wave. It's a wave. It's a very flat wave. It's a swirl. It's very flat wave. It's a swirl. Okay, this is why I like science. Um, let's go look at some waters again, so you can refocus my thinking. Photos. Okay. Um, oh, so we're going back to the planets. Okay. The planets are moving around the sun, but then our moon and the moon of a planet is circling the planet. Okay? So our moon is moving around us. This is why the moon is affecting the tides of the water so much. But then the other planets, you know, and the moon is moving around us, and all of us, like our little unit, is swirling around the sun. And so there's the change in, we say that the moon affects the tides of the water, and to a lesser degree the sun, and to a lesser degree the outer planets. Now, why is that? If you think about a self-organizing system, and the sun being the center of the galaxy. Now, the center of the galaxy is not stationary. Okay? The sun, and this is another doodle. I don't remember who said it. It was a discovery. Like, can you help me out with this? If you know whether, like, no, this is not a text. This one is actually a doodle. If you know the people who discovered that, let's say this is the sun. Okay? The sun is moving and it's going in circles and moving and moving and moving like this. If I'm not mistaken, this is the spiral. And then the galaxy moving around it and moving around it and moving around it and moving around it. Okay? What we kind, if you think about us as a galaxy progressing around the cosmos, we kind of look like depending on the angle, we kind of look like a tornado going this way, but not tornado going this way, tornado going this way. We're a tremendous storm cruising around the universe, as many other storms are. We're an elegant, gentle storm that's been constructed in this way. But I don't know if we're moving this way or moving this way or moving this way or moving this way. Where do we move as a galaxy? We travel. And then the galaxy expands, contracts, expands, contracts, okay? Like the waves, like the breathing, okay? The in-breath Jupiter, the out-breath Saturn. And here I think, oh my God. Here I think I already made an uncomparable artistic creation. So let's have a watermark. Do I have a watermark? Protective watermark. No, let's do STJ. STJ. And this is Saturday, February 4. So 2/4/23. Now it looks professional. Now I look like I stole this picture from someone, except that I photographed and made it. So it looks like an angry bird that is not even a bird. And so the various pressures, so our Earth turns around, the moon, it turns around itself, the moon turns around it, every planet turns around itself, probably the sun turns around itself. And it's not just turning around itself, there is the precession, which is another interesting phenomena that I hope I can explain well. And the precession, if you're an astrologer, then you probably learned that. If you are self-taught and you didn't run into this information, no need to be ashamed. We do not study in linear fashion nowadays. Okay, this is not the time to mess with that. Okay. So if I want to talk about the precession, and let's say there it is revolving. So it's not revolving just around the axis. Okay, that's the... But the axis itself is moving. And this is how we got sidereal and tropical astrology. Okay, the precession of the planets. Um, and so it's revolving, it's moving, so on and so forth. And that is the precession. There's the precession of the equinox. It's too difficult to explain right now, but this is something that's responsible for the different eras that we have. We talk about Piscean age, this age, that age. Okay, I think that's the 27,000 years or something. That is an era of air of something. Yeah, that's probably that. Um, if not, then I may mix in a couple of things. Anyway, so we have every planet moving around itself, but the axis of the turn is also turning around itself. Okay? And it probably happens as a result of the relation between the bodies turning around themselves. So they affect each other. Kind of like neurons when I think about it. Not in the turning way, but it's just like they tend to affect each other and then they create a certain structure that's kind of like a musical. Um, anyway, so this is one movement that we have. And then the moon of the planet is turning around the planet. Okay, so our moon is turning around the earth. That's how something becomes a moon of something. It revolves around the bodily thingy. So the moons of planets, well, let's say Jupiter has, I think, Europa, and which planet has 7 moons? There's a planet that has 7 moons. So if you wanted to do astrology on a planet that has 7 moons, it would look like machine learning to computate where, like, what moons are affecting, or what is the relation between the affecting of the moons, and how would the shore look like on a planet that has 7 moons, right? Let's say there was a sea, there was an ocean somehow on such a planet. How would the air pressure look like? How would the shore look like? It's a different array of things. And so, as we are moving, we also have the idea that the movement around the sun is not exactly round. Okay, every planet has its own silly walk. Okay, think about Uranus. It flips and flaps, turns up and down and flip and flap, and what I guess is the threshold that, like the nervous system, is the threshold in electric current, um, that flip and flap the directions, um, and they seem to be more erratic. Okay, as a result, from both the gases that Uranus is comprised of um, and the streams, the way that waves operate on these gases. Okay. Um, and so little planet Earth is getting a conglomerate of factors affecting its gravitational wave itself. Okay, because if air pressure is comprised of the level of entropy of a system, okay, the level of order and disorder of a system, talk about air pressure. Then, of course, the Earth. So I am now I'm explaining astrology. Okay, so then of course, you know, the gravity upon Earth, not just the gravity that the way we feel as human beings. Okay, we're not gonna feel that. Maybe some of us will. Um, but definitely the waves of the sea, definitely the weather, definitely the temperature. Okay, those things, and those things have their power, but also people have their power, right? If everybody is going to mine the Dead Sea out of its minerals, there will be differences. Um, and then there's the question of, are the planets affecting determinism and random, like chaos and randomness and determinism and order. And we need chaos for order. Oh, we need disorder for order. Sorry, we need disorder because chaos is the entire system that includes both disorder and order. So we need randomness for order, and we need order for randomness to emerge. I do um, adopt the concept of emergence and top down. And I think the name of the writer was Elliot George, who wrote Can Physics Underlie the Mind? I think it was 2015, 2016 that this book came out, or 2014. I used it as the framework for my thesis, and I was lucky enough to find this thinker and save myself a ton of time searching for a good theory of consciousness, and people can have objectivity to that or resistance to it. Um, we can think about design as diversified. My religion is possibilionist, or spiritual views possibilionist, um, and so on and so forth. So this is one person to refer to uh, for just great ideas and the arrangement of great ideas. Um, okay, so that's very general. I think I said quite a lot. It's an hour and 17. I'll take a break, and I'll continue to have these thoughts. The next episode, I hope, will already be a painting. Um, I already had this in mind that gravitational waves have effect, and through fluid dynamics, we can see it, we can observe. Um, there are people reading in the water and so on and so forth, the effect of waves on water, and energy and feelings and so on. And I addressed it with the experiment on the water that was done and couldn't be repeated and so on and so forth. So yeah, I'll just take a break now, and I'll return to record another episode. Hopefully, then it will already be with some oil painting. So, my thinking comes from a different type of sketching that's a bit more elegant than this. Um, and we can get more ideas. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and thanks for Eris and for the Spirit of the Planets for accompanying this little thought process. Okay.